Hi, it's Bonnie, and we're back today to do a last minute gift idea. Everyone always loves sweets for the holiday, and it's always nice to make a homemade treat. So, today we're going to make a very simple recipe, peanut clusters. Now, the one thing that you're going to need to have on hand is a double boiler. Now, a double boiler is made so that you can cook in it without burning whatever is inside the pan. So you would use this if you're making tapioca pudding, rice pudding, candies, custards, and you have a regular saucepan for the bottom that you would put about an inch and a half of water in the bottom. You're going to need to watch this if your item is going to cook a long time because you might have to add boiling water to the water in the bottom of the pan if it's getting low. Very rarely do you cook things that long that you run out of water. And then the double boiler pan is a pan that's made specifically to fit down into the other pan. And it has a little ridge to keep it from sliding down in. And then, of course, the lid. Now, today, what I am making, I needed a bigger pot area. So I'm not going to use this regular double boiler. I made my own double boiler, which many of you have at home that you can do this very simply. Now I'm going to turn the camera over to the stove. And you see that here I have my own homemade double boiler. I took my 5-quart Dutch oven. I put about that much water in the bottom. Good, you can see. I just wanted to make sure you could see. And then I put my Pyrex glass dish on the top. To that, I added a package of butterscotch chips and a package of the semi-sweet chocolate chips. Now these happen to be the mini. Those were the ones I picked up. It doesn't matter because they both melt down. These are both 12-ounce packages. You put them in your bowl or your pan, and then you start the water boiling underneath. Now this water has been boiling, so I'm going to turn it down just on low for right now. Now, I had a little trouble with my camera, so this has already melted and kind of reset. Now, the reason that I used my semi-sweet chocolate pieces, when the candy rehardens, it rehardens with a firmer cluster. If you use milk chocolate chips, they come out very nice, very tasty, but then they are stickier, they're softer. So that's why I use the semi-sweet. So now I have in my bowl, I have my chocolate, and be careful, that's boiling water. I'm going to show you. My chocolate is nice and gooey and sticky, very runny, and that's exactly what I need. Now, I wanted more peanuts to chocolate ratio. So I've got a big jar of dry roasted salted peanuts. So I did not add any salt to my chocolate here. The peanuts will be the salt. I like the dry roasted simply because they stay crunchier when the chocolate is around it. So I'm just going to pour those peanuts in. And at the bottom of the jug, you see there's lots of salt that has fallen off the peanuts. I'm going to make sure that I do not pour that into that chocolate. So this is a 2-pound, 2.5-ounce jar of peanuts, and I put a lot of those in. Now I'm going to stir this, and I'm just going to check and see what my chocolate to peanut ratio is. I have a few more that I could pour in there, and I think I will, because I want there to be more peanuts than chocolate. Now, you might be the other way around, and you might want more chocolates than peanuts, and that's okay. As you've seen when I cook, I don't use a lot of measurements, and that's okay because that's the way I'm used to cooking. I do measure very carefully if I'm doing a cake or cookies, something that I need to be exact. But when I'm doing stews or soups or even these candies, I just have fun. So now I have my peanuts nice and covered with the chocolate. And I'll show you here. Going to make sure I don't steam myself with that water. And you see I have a nice gooey mess of peanuts and chocolate. So I want these to stay warm while I'm forming my clusters. So I'm going to leave that bowl on top of the hot water. In the meantime, I took a regular cookie sheet and I lined it with wax paper. You could use parchment paper, whatever kind of slick surface paper that you want. Wax paper is nice because it has that little bit of wax so things don't stick and it easily slide off. So now I'm going to take my whole pan with the hot water and the peanuts over to a wooden cutting board that I had set here ready to go. And now I'm going to be able to scoop out my candies onto, I'm going to turn my heat off under my stove. And I'm simply going to start to make my little peanut clusters. Now the chocolate is hot. So you're going to probably want to take some kind of device to push those clusters off onto the wax paper. And then I try and form nice shaped globs. And I try to make them uniform because, especially if there's kids involved, there's always a fight over who gets the bigger one. So if we try and make them uniform in size, not only will they look pretty, but also you might not get a fight that way. And I have 2 teenage grandsons, so that's very important when I'm making something for them. These will need to harden for a few minutes. If you have room in your refrigerator, you could slide the whole tray in. If it's cold outside, you could set them out on your porch. I have been known to take things out to the car and just put them in the car so that they get nice and cold. That works for winter time cooking, but it doesn't necessarily work for summertime. And I'm just trying to get this camera adjusted. I'm having a little difficulty. And I'm just going to continue on, and I'm going to put these scoops of chocolate and peanuts. I'm going to push them together so they make a nice little cluster. And I can see right now I'm going to need to do an additional sheet. If you find that your chocolate is hardening before you get the clusters put out on your wax paper, then just put the whole pan right back on your burner, turn the heat back on, melt that chocolate again. The nice thing is you can warm it up, you can reheat it, and it will come out just the same, nice and sticky and icky. You probably have a little fight in who's going to help you lick the bowl and the spoons when you get done. And I'll show you just a second. I just about have this pan full, and I'm going to need to get another pan ready. And I just take, and like I said, I'm trying to do them very uniform in shape and size. If you're going to give these as a gift, you're going to want to put them in a little box, in a can, and you see we have nice globby peanut clusters. They'll be ready to go. If you want a smaller candy, just take a smaller spoon and make smaller clusters. I see that I have a few little peanuts that have gotten away. I'm just going to take those and push them up against the clusters that are already there. So you can do this with dry roasted peanuts, which is my favorite way to do it. Another way that you can do it, you can take the same mixture and you can use the chow mein noodles. They're a crunchy rice noodle that you get to put with your Chinese food. And those are very good also. They're salty, they're a little bit oily, and they make a very tasty cluster. You use the butterscotch chips, the chocolate chips. Another one that I'm going to make, again, I got roasted salted almonds, and I'm going to take the Hershey's peppermint kisses and I'll melt those down and cover the almonds with peppermint. I thought that would be a very tasty little change. So when these are cold, and just to leave them on the counter, it would take quite a while for them to harden back up. So put them in the fridge, set them outside, someplace where the dog isn't going to get them, and that's a major issue at my house. So you have to put them where they're going to be safe and cool. They are excellent. They taste so good. Just 3 ingredients: butterscotch chips, Hershey's or chocolate chips, and then your peanuts. And again, I use roasted salted peanuts. You wouldn't want to put a raw peanut in here like you do for peanut brittle because you need to have the peanut already cooked. This does nothing with cooking or roasting the peanuts. It's simply melting the 2 brands or chips or types of chips, adding the peanuts to it, and then you're ready to make your clusters. Make them as large as you want, then pack them in a box, in a can. I would be sure and put wax paper or parchment paper in between the layers. That way they can't stick together. But you would have a very lovely, last minute, easy to make gift. The hardest part of this is the cleanup. So enjoy, have a nice holiday. We'll see you when the first of the year. I need one of those swivel cameras. Bye-bye now. We'll see you soon.